two of these Metropolitan teams are trending in one direction, a couple wins for the New York teams lately, whereas the Devils are trending in the other direction. What are you seeing as the biggest difference between these two teams and why, the trends are going in the opposite directions?
Yeah, I mean, some of it is just that seasons come with ebbs and flows, and I think we know that every year. I mean, there's going to be. We saw earlier this season the Devils got off to an awesome start that was really encouraging in terms of results, but also maybe had some of the underlying numbers maybe suggested that it was a little. They weren't quite as good as the results they were getting, and now they've come back to earth a bit. So you're just going to have stretches like this in a season. And then the other thing is obviously health for the Devils with Jack Hughes out, Brett Pesce out. It's a banged up group, and I think you're seeing that with them. Now the Islanders and Rangers both have injuries of their own, so and they're managing to play well right now. But to me, it's kind of just the ebbs and flows of the season and what happens. But I do think the Devils have there are some areas of concern we can get into that are starting to creep in.
Yeah, you mentioned the concerns, and that's certainly something that I did want to bring up. I don't know if you saw, which I think a lot of us saw at this point, the graphic that MSG Network put out the other night with the offensive chances both on the rush and zone time and such. And with Jack Hughes in the lineup, it was top of the league, top 10, some categories top 5, but without Jack Hughes, I mean, we're talking 30th, 31st, 32nd even. Is this team, I mean, is it a case of an underperforming team, or is this the case that the Devils are only as good as Jack Hughes is when he's in the lineup?
Yeah, I think there's a balance there, right? I mean, the good teams in the league, the best teams can survive when their best players are out. You look at if the Avs were down McKinnon, they would be worse for sure, but I think they would still find ways to win games. The Devils are in a situation, but I should say the Avs would probably not win the Stanley Cup without without Nathan McKinnon. So the Devils are in an interesting situation where they're struggling to even get those wins that you need sometimes against not as great teams when Jack Hughes is out. And that's a bit of an issue because you need to be able to stay afloat when your best players are out. But I think we already knew that this team was only going to go as far in the playoffs as Jack Hughes was going to lead them. He's instrumental in whatever they do going forward.
And how much of a problem is that really? Like, obviously, we see how it's going with him out of the lineup. But other teams, I mean, they're not making the same excuses. You look at a team like the Lightning, who, yeah, I mean, they have the pedigree, former champions, but they're missing a headman. They're missing some key players. Braden Point's not playing, and they're still going well. They went from worst to first, in fact. Yeah, half their decor is not there. So how do you explain that? Whereas one team can do it and the other can't, because I mean, you look at how the Devils are constructed, they still have elite players in the lineup. Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Dougie Hamilton. What's the difference here?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the offense that Jack Hughes provides, the Devils have a lot of, like you said, elite or borderline elite players, but maybe don't have as many creators. Nico Hischier is an excellent two-way player and brings offense and certainly can create on his own, but not to the level of Jack Hughes. Timo Meier is, I don't know if he's creating as much on his own. They just need someone like Jack Hughes who can create offense. You mentioned rush chances, things like that. This all underscores the importance of him to their lineup, but also they're going to need more from some of the guys around him. And he's sure, certainly when Hughes first went out, like he's put up some big points, and there have been games that the Devils have deserved a better fate, but I mean, you look at that Columbus game, Jake Allen maybe lets in a few that he wants back, and they maybe deserved a better result that night. And obviously there was everything where they were down to 4 defensemen, and guys like Nemeth and Hughes are playing way more minutes than they probably needed to be. And so there, you can look at individual games and find examples, but I think that I don't know the exact way to state the difference other than that they just need Jack Hughes' offense and the ability to create. And without that, it's really tough. And the good teams can kind of fight through that and stay afloat. And the Devils might be able to do that. But I think that's the big thing is they need a creator.